Chief Dr. Mrs. Patience A.C. Blanksin Uku, born in about 1933 to a Ghanaian father whose father had come from the Cape Coast, and a mother who came from Usele. She was of the royal lineage. She was born in Warri and attended convent school in Warri. And after that, she went on to Holy Child College in Lagos, which incidentally is a school where two sisters attended. And I also attended that school with two of my sisters. Holy Child molded my mother. She was a prefect already in primary school, but in secondary school she did a lot of things, and she was a model student, brilliant student, and she worked very, very hard. She actually did get quite a lot of medals while she was there. And later she went on to the UK, where she started off studying nursing, and eventually she decided nursing was not for her. She said she wasn't very happy because there were so many people just dying suddenly, and she was working in a ward where people had heart diseases. And so she changed to study public administration and social work at the University of Sheffield, which was the university my father attended. Apparently they had met each other in Nigeria very many years ago, and they did get married, and I came into the world in June of 1956.
The celebrant is my mother-in-law. My wife is her first daughter. I first knew her when I was in secondary school. She was then the Chief Community Development Officer in the then Midwest region. And we used to come for Midwest Arts and Cultural Festival. That was where I first met her. She used to host us. And we did a lot of rehearsals in our Community Development Center. Later, I got to know that she was, that she owned a shop on Forestry Lane where we lived in Benin City at the time. And later, when I got to know her daughter and we got married, I saw a different aspect of her.
Mommy actually wanted to go on to study law, but Daddy said it's time to go back home. He had finished his course in architecture and he wanted to come back home to do things for his country. So Mom came back home feeling that there was a hole in her studies, something she wanted to do which she couldn't do. But family always comes first. She came back to Nigeria and they moved to Ibadan, where Daddy was given a job in Western region. And she now worked in the Community Development Division of the government office, and started traveling quite a lot. Then came the creation of Bendel State, and her husband was transferred to, my father was transferred to Benin, which was then part of the Bendel State, and she had to move. One thing I know was that Mommy combined her work with raising her children. And we always had nannies, but they were not young people, they were always mature people, because she had to go back out to work and she had to travel. She went on to work in the Community Development Department in the state government of Bendel State, and then she rose up to the post of Chief Community Development Officer. She, during that period, was able to work for the emancipation of women. She was one of those women with the National Council of Women's Society who worked towards making maternity leave fully to be taken for 12 weeks with pay. Previously it was 6 weeks and then you were paid for 6 weeks, and if you took the extra 6 weeks, you were not paid. But they worked towards making sure that women were paid during their maternity leave. And there were very many other things that they felt that women were not allowed to do. For example, the first female permanent secretary in the state was Mrs. Uku. She was due for that post, but for reasons known to the men at that time, she wasn't made a permanent secretary, even though she was due. But all the women made sure that she did get that post. And after that, my mother and 2 other women were made permanent secretaries in the state. She was actually the first Shekiri woman to be made a permanent secretary. She worked very hard with the state government and retired when she was about 55, I think. And she thought she had done enough for the state, and she wanted to do some things for her family. In addition to that, my mother did quite a lot of businesses. I remember my parents ran a cane shop, they ran a book shop, they ran a meat shop. We had a store called Rich's Fancy Store. She sold wrappers, she sold head ties, she sold jewelry. She always kept herself busy, and she made sure that we had the best. I mean, we all went to primary school here, but by A levels, we all went to the UK, and all the children were educated there.
A wife to the core, and lived with her husband for 60 years before the husband, the legendary architect Uku, passed on. Mommy became a lawyer.
After going through her master's degree, she went on to study law, and she got her LLB at 60. She always says there's no limit in life to what you can do. So she finally got the Esquire after her name.
She was the director of MAMSA in Bendel State.
And that's where she got the name Mama MAMSA. Very interesting. That was a very interesting time for her and for us as well.
She was a Rotarian. She was a traditional chief in the palace of the Ulu of Warri.
And this was the Ereluyon of Warri. And this is like somebody who makes the palace happy, let's just put it that way. She was the president of the Warri Ladies Vanguard, and during that time they built a hall in Big Warri. And she's done a lot of things for women, worked with the church as well as a Catholic. She worked with Sister Brenda, and they together started off the Catholic Social Center, which they have today.
Whatever she placed her hands on, she achieved and did very well. That's why today her children are all high net worth achievers in all their endeavors. On top of this, Mommy is a doting and caring mother-in-law.
Mommy loves traveling, and she made sure we traveled as a child. She thought that traveling was an education, so we all got a chance to travel all over the world. So for the holidays, if you had a friend, for example, in the Philippines and you wanted to go and visit, she would make sure that the ticket was purchased. She would encourage Daddy, and we'll do that. Mommy loves reading. Mommy loves dancing. Every Christmas morning, I remember waking up to the sound of Sunny Ade. We'll have Christmas carols, and we'll have Sunny Ade, and she'll dance. Mommy loves dancing. Mommy loves looking good. She's got a very good dress sense. Even till now, I'm sure today, as she's celebrating her birthday, she's wearing her wedges. Gele on point, lovely jewelry. That is my mother.
Whatever you see in my wife today can be traced back to her. The energy and the zest for life. All that she gave to her daughter is what has made my home what it is today. When I see my wife, I can see her mother in her. You know, Mommy is a woman of many parts. Many, many parts, like I said, you know, all the things that she has achieved. But she's just there. generous to a fault. And you can see that also in her children. I think if I'm going to pick one thing from mommy, it is that we both share the same zodiac sign. Probably that is why we get along very well. We're all both born in December. But mommy is a loving, ardent Christian. She is way a generous person.
For she's a jolly good fellow, and so say all of us, hooray! And so say all of us, hooray! And so say all of us, hooray! For she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny.
Yes.
I think a low point of our life was when Dad passed. That was in 2019. It was a very difficult time for all of us, but we all geared up to the task. And I told my mother, like I told my father before he died, that we will look after mommy and make sure that she lives lives to the fullest. So since then, we celebrated every birthday, 87, 88, 89. And this year we took her on the cruise, which we know she loves doing because she and Daddy cruised to so many parts of the world. We took her on her cruise. We went to Norway with her children and grandchildren. Or we took her to the UK. We had a party with the 7 other children who live here. And then we come back home and we celebrate with herself, her Shekiri community, the members of the Amori Ladies Vanguard, her church members, members of the Rotary Club, husband, and we're colleagues of her husband. The club she founded, the Shekiri Daughters and Wives, the National Council of Women's Societies, to which she was greatly affiliated, and then friends from very long ago. Mrs. Emovo has been a friend for ages. They've known each other since Holy Child College. And today I'm glad that Mrs. Emovo is also 90. She was our parent for our wedding anniversary. She sponsored the wedding, and they've kept up this friendship for very many years. There are not many friends of hers who are 90 who can actually move around and be here with us, but we are sure that wherever they are watching by Zoom if they're here, and some have already gone to meet the Lord. So today we are very excited. All the girls are married, and we thank God for their lives, and we just want to wish her a happy birthday. She has 8 children, I think about 21 grandchildren, and very many more great-grandchildren. In fact, there are some others on the way who are coming. It's important to note that she had 2 sisters who actually lived with us for a long time. One was called Irene Beauty Shetima, and the other one is called Ajwa Plankton. These 2 sisters are now more like our sisters than siblings. We thank God for their lives, and both of them are here to celebrate with us.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yeah.
On behalf of all your children, Teriwa Okoro, Oti Gabriel, Uwawoli Adu, Ajwa Nana Bridget Gwalin, Patricia Makpebo Jaja, Vivianus Uku Jr., and Chief Richard Uku, their family, grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and all our spouses. We just pray that God continues to give you the good health that you have today, continues to keep you well in good health, to travel many more countries you want to travel, and all the prayers you have said for us over the years have not gone in vain. You have all your children alive to celebrate with you. All their spouses are alive to celebrate with you. And that is only a gift from God himself. We pray for many more years for you, Mommy. Your mom lived very many more years. And so you will do that with us all looking after you. Happy birthday, Grandma.
When we ponder your legacy, we're honestly struck with awe and wonder at your achievements, truly extraordinary. For your time, for a woman of your time, you are formidable, a leader, a pioneer, and also a role model. You placed women at the heart of all of your initiatives, and then you were able to benefit their children as well. We must not forget what your generation did to pave the way for women today, and also for your numerous achievements where you assisted different communities, charities, organizations. We are truly proud of you, and your footsteps will remain in the sands of time.
On behalf of Tina, my wife, my 6 children, I want to say big congratulations to Mommy. And as you coast along the 9th floor of life, we pray that God continues to give you good health, contentment, and happiness all the days of your life. Congrats, Mommy.